Yo, what up, y'all? So, yeah, there's more news on this whole Virginia school shooter. I told you I'm gonna follow it, even if nobody watches it on this fucking channel. I don't care. It's gonna be a place. My thoughts on this bullshit here. Again, RIP to those that were lost, the victims of the families of the victims. I mean, let's watch some of this news and let's react. There's a good amount of news going on today. Give me a second. All right.
Developing right now, the University of Virginia community is reeling after a devastating shooting late last night. 3 UVA football players were shot and killed on a charter bus after coming back from a school field trip to D.C. 2 other students are in the hospital tonight.
The suspect is a former football player himself, but police are still working to figure out a motive. Joy Wang from our sister station in Washington joins us with the very latest on this tragedy for the school and the whole community. Joy?
The scene I'm standing at right now.
They're trying to find a motive. There ain't no motive. The guy's fucking crazy. Well, actually, there was a motive. They did say one of the girls on the on the bus said that before this kid walked up. There's a lot of static in here. Before this kid walked up to those boys on the bus, he said something about, "You've been talking. You've been making fun of me." Something. So there's some information that this guy might have been getting bullied.
Or really the lack of a scene right now. This road was very active. We saw the bus here. We saw a number of police cars here. Now, none of it. But I want to talk a little bit about what happened just a couple hours ago. It was shortly after the press conference, and I was trying to put this story together. A football player walked up to me, and he said he wanted to make sure we let everyone know that the 3 football players who died, the 3 team members he lost, were incredible people. They were selfless, always wanted the success of others, and always put their team first.
Pardon me.
This was the moment. University Police Chief Tim Longo in front of university leaders and a packed room of journalists.
I mean, you know, and it's funny too that, you know, yeah, okay, someone's died, kids have died, and people don't want to talk about, people will never say anything bad about anyone that's been killed, even if it would lead to more information, right? Now, let's just say hypothetically that these guys did bully this kid. Let's just say they did. We don't know. We weren't there. Hypothetically, let's say this kid was getting bullied. That'd be something good to know. You know, so I mean, some information like that coming from these kids that would say, well, these were some good kids, but they did fuck around a lot, or they did talk a lot of shit to everybody, because we know kids talk shit. I mean, the best kids, the most popular kids in any classroom are pretty much, you know, talking shit to everybody. Now, I don't think there's a reason for them to get killed. But I done my share of clowning people, you know, not being clowned.
Learned the suspect was in custody.
And nobody talks about, but see, nobody's talking about where they got these guns, where he got this gun. Nobody. I haven't heard it yet, but we're going to see.
We just received information the suspect is in custody.
An emotional moment and sigh of relief after the University of Virginia campus was on lockdown for 12 hours as police searched for former UVA football player, 22-year-old Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., the suspected shooter.
The shootings occurred on a bus full of students returning from a field trip. 3 of the victims did not survive.
For hours, you could see the bus behind the state police crime scene truck as detectives gathered evidence. It was supposed to be...
I mean, so... Again, there's a gap right there, right? They're on a bus. Why isn't there security on the bus? Why can't we put security on the bus? Why is that not something that, you know, I don't even want to say the liberals, because they're not the only ones that want to stop this shit from happening. You think we like motherfuckers getting killed? Or you think we like people getting killed? I'm trying to clean up my language a little bit. Well, it doesn't need to be too raw. It's still kind of early. But do you think that the liberals are the only ones that want to get rid of crime? No, it's not true. It's not true. We just have very different, and I'm almost speaking like I'm a Republican. Maybe I'm becoming one. I can't say that I am. I don't know anything about Republicans. I don't know any. I only know Donald Trump. So me calling myself a Republican is like saying I'm a fucking, Buffalo's Bills fan and don't know nobody on the team. A little bit sounds contradictory. So it's not something I wouldn't go so far as to say that. But all I'm saying is I know people have varying approaches to solving the same problems, and when you go through problems, like one thing I've learned about problem management is it doesn't really matter how you solve the problem, as long as at the end of the day, all roads lead to a single road, which is success. Problem solved. Right. And some problems just can't really get solved. Like you can't solve drug problem because people like doing drugs. It's like trying to stop a bunch of animals from picking up fruit that gets them high. They do it. Animals do it. But I lost my damn point, y'all. Anyway,
last field trip to see a play, but
You're
after
not
they
gonna
returned,
stop.
police say Devin Chandler from Virginia Beach.
Yeah, oh yeah. Where's the security at? That's what I was talking about. Right. So rudely interrupted by myself. Where were the where's the why don't we just put security on damn buses, man? It's a lot of overhead. Yes, it is. But saving lives is worth it. You can't, we all want to solve problems by removing something from the equation. We think if we take certain things out of the calculation, the number was definitely going to be different. Because, if you're thinking literally taking anything out of a calculation, things are going to change. But you can't measure the change because you have to calculate it first to see the results. You see what I'm saying? The only way to measure how effective something is, thinking through this right now as we, live on the stream, is you need to be able to measure the effectiveness of what the results are. Meaning, and therefore, if that's the case, you need to have results before you can measure them. Right. And with these type of laws and measures, we never see any results. So they never can really be measured. So I don't really know why anybody keeps continuing to, you guys just go on these tirades of these, get rid of this. I want to get rid of fucking apple pies because I don't like them and people choke on apples. They're fucking bad for you. People go on these damn, what's the term? What's the term when you load up a military and you go after something unnecessarily, but just because you want to? Kind of like how he took Saddam Hussein out, for no reason. He was a bad guy, but we made up a reason to go take him out. We went on a crusade. George Bush Jr. went on I think that's the right word, crusade. And that's what you guys are doing with these guns. It's on a fucking, they just must be gone for you guys. And like I said, if that's really the solution, then take them. But the only reason why we push back so much is because we know that's not the solution. It's like, why the hell why would be, if we really believe that we would be safer without with tighter gun policies, do you think we would fight that? The very people that are scared, and I don't want to use that, I ain't trying to use that word, but paranoid enough to actually have a gun and learn how to use a gun and carry a gun and clean a gun and pack a gun and safe keep a gun and do all that shit nonstop. You think that person is not vested in being safe? You think, look, a killer doesn't do all that. A killer buys a gun because I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill somebody one day. They put it in their closet. They leave it there until they're ready to kill somebody. And they don't even oil it, I bet you. I don't even think I bet you this thing is probably dried. Motherfucking bullet probably get jammed up there the first 2-3 shots. Let alone them even knowing how to shoot it. Then they're probably going to have target rounds in there because they're just going to go buy bullets. They're going to call them bullets. They're not going to call them ammunition. You know, they're going to say, you know, so to me, that's what a killer does. And they get angry, they go get the gun and they shoot somebody. But an armed citizen, man, that's as close to a police officer as you can get without actually knowing all the laws and having a badge and a siren on your car. Because you got to clean, or military, because you got to clean the guns. You got to keep them, you know, oiled up. You got to shoot them every once in a while. This is just so you know they work and they're ready and they're going to do the intended thing you bought them to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, there's this whole book, which that's why I want to start talking more respectfully to everybody, because I think there's a good amount of dialogue that we can all have about guns in general. You guys need to know more about them, other than the fact that people use them to kill other people. And so then, you know, the person that does all this, cleans their gun and maintains their gun, they're not going to go out. They're not trying to go out there and kill nobody. Why the hell did they even spend all this time cleaning anything? It's just, I mean, and by the time you clean it, you got your gun oils. I mean, there's things that you're probably going to leave other remnants at the scene. Yeah, you know, you can just shoot them over and leave. You might even, I mean, who knows? Right? So, I mean, like, unless you're a trained murderer. Anyway, let's look at more of this. I want to react to a few of these videos, so I'm not going to talk as much.
Florida were shot and killed.
Where they had been for the day, enjoying a school activity, having a meal together, and coming back to our grounds, and someone amongst them chose to do an act of violence.
Lavelle Davis Jr. from Ridgeville, South Carolina, was taken to the hospital and later died. 2 other students were injured.
My heart is broken for the victims and their families, and for all those who knew and loved them. And they are all in my prayers.
But were there warning signs? University police said Jones was brought to the attention of the threat assessment team at the Office of Student Affairs this fall.
They received information that Mr. Jones had made a comment about possessing a gun to a person that was unaffiliated with the university.
Chief Longo says the report didn't come with threats. Plus, Student Affairs followed up with a roommate who didn't see a gun. Then there were reports of a hazing incident. That case, police say, was also closed because witnesses wouldn't cooperate.
But through the course of the threat assessment team's investigation, we learned of a prior criminal incident involving a concealed weapon violation
That case, police say, was plus Student Affairs followed up.
Possessing a gun. Mr. Jones had made a comment about possessing a gun to a person that was unaffiliated with the university.
Chief Longo says the report didn't come with threats. Plus, Student Affairs followed up with a roommate who didn't see a gun. Then there were reports of a hazing incident. That case, police say, was also closed because witnesses wouldn't cooperate.
But through the
all right, see, there you go. Police closed the case because witnesses didn't cooperate. What does that tell you guys? There's another gap. First of all, I'm going to keep driving this home. He didn't buy his gun. He didn't buy his gun from the gun store the way we did. And if he did, there you go. I mean, the case is bad either way. If he bought his gun through the gun store, I already showed you in my last video, Virginia has some really tight gun laws. They've been doing background checks for 30 years, it sounds like. I forgot the year that they said they started. But I know it was on November 1st because that's when my birthday was. So they started, doing their background checks. So if he was background checked, he would have slipped through. He lost his mind, guys. He went crazy. All right, let's just play this out on both ways. He had a background check. He didn't have any marks, nothing. This guy's good. This guy's a football player, upstanding citizen, GPA 4.2. Everybody loves him. The killer I'm talking about. And he, gets the gun and he goes home and he puts it away. And then he threatens somebody at some point, which is what it sounds like here. And they're like, oh, we followed up. Police closed the case. They're not getting cooperation. Now, if he bought the gun legally, the police would know he had a gun, and they would probably made a statement on the fact that he had a gun. Or let's say that they don't tell us that they know that he has a gun for privacy reasons, and they can keep that information from us, then they know he had a gun still. That's in the files, documented somewhere, that they knew it and withheld the information. And that will come up. We should be able to, we should hear about this information. Now, on the other hand, which I think this is what I'm thinking happened. He bought the gun on the streets. He bought it from a friend of his. A friend got it from another friend. It's an illegal gun. Might not even have serial number on it. They not even talking about what. I don't think I've even heard him say what kind of gun it was. I mean, again, there's all this talk about the gun when we pass policies, but when we hear the story from the news media and from anybody, they barely even talk about it, a fucking gun. We should know what kind of gun it was, where he bought it, when he purchased it. We should know those things at least.
In the course of the threat assessment team's investigation, we learned of a prior criminal incident involving a concealed weapon violation that occurred outside the city of Charlottesville in February of 2021.
Now Jones is facing more charges, 3 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of using a handgun in the commission of a felony.
Back out here live, Henrico police actually arresting Jones shortly before 11 o'clock this morning. And while this scene is no longer active, this investigation very much is. Live in Charlottesville, Joy Wang, Fox 45 News.
All right, obviously that was yesterday. This was posted 22 hours ago. So we do know it was a handgun. All right, so it was a handgun. But we don't know what caliber. We don't know the type of handgun. There are a lot of handguns out there. Right, so there's still more that we could learn from this. Let's watch this one.
Lavelle Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry. The 3 young men were star football players for UVA. Talented, bright young men with great futures ahead of them, no doubt. Police say the student athletes were shot on board a bus just as they returned from a school field trip to see a play right here in D.C. The college football community is certainly mourning this incredible loss tonight. And we're also learning more about that suspect in this case. Our Adelia Gonzalez joins us now. And Dee, I understand you spoke with the suspect's father?
Pretty remarkable that he just spoke to reporters. The sound just coming into our newsroom just a short time ago. Chris Jones Sr. actually apologizing on behalf of his son. He says he last saw his son a month ago when he came home to do laundry. But what this dad revealed about his son is indeed eye-opening. 22-year-old Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. reportedly overcame a troubled childhood. Dad admits his son struggled after dad left the family. The father and son had no contact for 11 years. Still, the 22-year-old seemingly overcame his challenges, making the national honor. Seemingly had no contact for 11 years. Still,
11 years, dude? The fuck is wrong with you, man? There's another problem. Bruh, your son, you haven't seen your son in 11 years. And here we are, cleaning up after your mess. He might have needed a dad. Okay? He probably needed somebody to talk to. I know, my teens were hard. My teens were hard. A lot of looking for myself, trying to find myself. Growing up in East Oakland, there's a lot of bullshit out there, a lot of crime, criminal activity, gang banging, gangsters. Just everything you could imagine back in the 80s and 90s, right? Just look it up. Type in Felix Mitchell. He's one of the biggest drug dealers in probably even to this day. He died. He's from East Oakland. They marched him through the city in a golden casket when he died with a horse and chariot back in the 80s and 90s. It was all made news and everything. That's East Oakland. But anyway, that's pretty sad that this kid didn't have a dad. All right, so I'm just calling out. There's a lot of layers to every story, but people don't put the time to try to understand it. And I ain't gonna lie, I don't either. Unless it's something that touches, that is affecting me in one way or another, then I feel like I had to peel these layers back. And maybe I'll just do it on this channel. But yeah, this kid needed a father. Obviously, he killed 3 people and injured 2 or 3 more.
Came his challenges, making the National Honor Society, attending UVA. But take a listen to the last conversation his father said he shared with his son.
He was real paranoid when I talked to him about something. He wouldn't tell me everything. He said some people was picking on him or whatever. Real paranoid.
His father had challenges. contact with the family. His son struggled after dad left the family. The father and son had no contact for 11 years. Still, the 22-year-old seemingly overcame his challenge.
Fuck, he says they had no contact for 11 years. Then you say last time you talked to him.
He was real paranoid when I talked to him.
Son. The last conversation his father said he shared with his son.
He was real paranoid when I talked to him about something. He wouldn't tell me everything. He said some people was picking on him or whatever. He didn't know how to handle it. I just told him, no, just go to school. Don't pay him no mind. Do what you got to do. Come on, you only had one more year. My hearts go out to their family. I don't know what to say. Except I'm sorry on his behalf.
You can hear it there. Just a loss for words and apologizing on behalf of his son.
Loss of words, and brother ain't got no words at all. He said that he told his son, just go to school, don't worry about it. What? Okay, so you don't have any contact with your son for 11 years? And then you talk to him, and the last conversation you have, he's talking about some kids picking on him. You just go to school, don't worry about it. Some kids that are in the same fucking class as him. This is not just go to school, don't worry about it. Some kids that you're gonna be on a bus with, going out on a field trip with. Okay, so to me, if that's the case, let's play it out. If that's really, and I'm not, hey, look, I'm just peeling layers back. Challenging the question. I'm playing devil's advocate on every goddamn angle here. So let's just say he, to me, the way that conversation would go would be more like, son, these guys, you're in the same class with them, all right? You played football with them. Can't fucking tell me these guys, you mean these guys are picking on you. Pick on them back. What do they say? What do they say to you? Tell me what they said. All right. Now, you fucking tell them this next time. That's just kind of the way, that to me is the normal dad-son, thing. Like, pop him in the back of the head. It's like, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. Get man up. No. This guy says, just go. You got another year. Just don't worry about it. Maybe that's, a nonchalant, inactive, not there father. He already said he wasn't there for 11 fucking years. So you and the what? Now I might be going deeper than I need to, but I'm just going to stop there.
You can hear it there. Just a loss for words and apologizing on behalf of his son. And of course, that community still heartbroken over this loss. The suspect's father said he hasn't spoken to his son just yet, but he hopes to soon. And Zoe, I do have to tell you that I spent time today reaching out to the victims' families and friends. And I just spoke to Lavelle Davis's dad a couple of hours ago. He tells me his son was a remarkable young man. He described him as a diamond in the rough.
So heartbreaking. Delia, thank you.
Okay, I mean, see, this is so much that I can pick apart. The problem with these kind of news publishings is that they're just there to give grievance to the family. And that's important. And maybe that's the only thing the news is good for. To give grievance to people that die and to scare the shit out of everyone else so that they don't die, or to scare everyone else that you're going to die. To scare everybody with COVID, scare everybody with killing, scare everybody with all this other shit. And then when you do die, they're going to give grievance to you. They're going to let your family grieve. They're going to just really paint out how great you were, talk about all the greatest things about you. But that aside, how about the fucking evidence? How about the facts? How about the real information on who all these people were? Right? It's not the greatest example because I really think it's pretty clear cut. These are just 3 kids. I mean, these are kids, man. But I'm just trying to set the stage for where I plan to go with this narrative over time. As more killings come out, people get killed. I just want to discuss the facts. We need personas. We need to know who subject A is, or victim. Who victim A, B, C, D, and then everybody needs to be kind of profiled. Not profiled. Well, yeah, profile built on them, just so you can get the story. right? Not that these 3 victims, not that there's more to them that we need to know, but it'd be nice to know if they were talking shit. If they were the types that are on the bus, man, fuck you, you old bitch ass motherfucker. Yeah, nigga, I'll beat your ass, fool. I beat your ass, cuz. Who you think you talking to? I mean, people get attitudes. People get, the nicest person in the world, be nice 95% of the time. And that 5% you piss them off, they gonna turn into a motherfucking thug. So who knows exactly, what happened before they got on that bus. But again, would the gun laws have stopped it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Joining me now, ABC News.
Especially when they not. I want to find someone talk.
Right there.
I want to find somebody talk about the goddamn. Just mention how he got the gun. I just want to hear that this is really a concern. I need articles about this shit. I need people talking about this. No one is. I'm not hearing it. But they just passed this law in Oregon that we need tighter gun control to stop shit like this. How in the fuck are you correlating this with that when they don't even talk about that when I'm watching this?
There on the University of Virginia campus. So, Faith, what more are we learning now about this suspect? Anything about him, how they found him, all the details?
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Kira. That sigh of relief that
man,
the police chief was talking about, it is reverberating all across the campus here amid a really difficult day for UVA and the Charlottesville community. The shooting suspect is now in custody 12 hours after that horrific shooting last night. It's still an active scene behind me. Authorities are still here gathering evidence. Authorities tell us that they received word of that shooting. Just
They're gathering the evidence still. There's a lot more than we're going to learn.
Gunshot wounds on a bus full of students. The bus had just returned from Washington, D.C. There was a field trip for a class. They went to D.C. to see a play, and this was part of the university class. It's unclear at this point whether the suspect was enrolled in that class and was on the bus on the field trip, or if he wasn't, how he got on the bus in the first place. But 3 of the victims that he allegedly shot enrolled in that class. They went to D.C. to see. They found multiple victims with gunshot wounds on a bus full of students. The bus had just returned from Washington, D.C. There was a field trip for a class. They went to D.C. to see a play, and this was part of the university class. It's unclear at this point whether the suspect was enrolled in that class and was on the bus on the field trip. Why is that unclear? Or if he wasn't, how he got on the bus in the first place. What the fuck are you guys?
This is the dumbest shit in the world. Why is that unclear? That should be the most clear. He in the fucking, you can't, come on now. You guys, these news play.
But 3 of the victims that he allegedly shot did die. 2 others are still in the hospital. They were injured. One of them is being treated. He's in that person is in critical condition. At this point, the school has not identified the 2 other injured victims, but we do know that they have identified the suspect, Christopher Jones. As you said, he is a student here at UVA.
So I wonder, did those other victims get crossfire, or did he shoot? Bam, 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 bam. That's what we don't really know. How did he go in there shooting? Did he go and assassinate? Shoot them? Did he shoot them dead? Did they bleed out? This just gives us a little bit more idea on the intent.
UVA. He turns 23 years old this week.
Well, it was a handgun, though.
He is a member, or he once was a member of the UVA football team, but according to the athletics department website, he never actually played in a game. This afternoon, we're hearing that he is facing several felony charges, including second-degree murder, using a handgun in commission of a felony, and we're also expecting investigators, as they get more information, they will be adding more charges to this. But as for what we are learning about him, well, police are still figuring out the motive behind the shooting. We're still learning some new details about him. Apparently, this is not the first time he's encountered authorities. According to police, he came to the attention of the UVA threat assessment team just this fall. He allegedly made a comment about having a gun to a person who was not affiliated with the university, but he didn't actually make any threats, according to police. And his roommate never actually saw him with a gun. And so we're not sure what happened to that case, but there was another alleged hazing incident. The circumstances of that still unclear at this point, but we are told the threat assessment team did disclose the investigation because they had to close the investigation rather because they really couldn't get a lot of cooperation from the suspect in this case. The threat assessment team also learned that there was a prior criminal incident involving a concealed weapon violation involving the suspect. This apparently happened outside of Charlottesville last year. School policy does require the suspect to report an incident like that, but according to police, he did not report this. And of course, all of these details are going to be part of the larger investigation into what happened, why it happened, and whether this could have been prevented. Kira.
Yeah, Faith, there is just so much to take in right now, and it was pretty remarkable right there in the middle of that news conference that they got word the suspect was in custody. All right, Faith, as you work your sources and more details, please let us know when you have more. We will come back to you. Meanwhile, we're going to bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. So, Brad, multiple law enforcement agencies, the ATF, Virginia State Police, so many involved in this investigation. So, considering the suspect was at large for more than 12 hours, I guess, first of all, what did you make of the police response? No one likes to see an alleged shooter on the loose, but 12 hours, that's pretty good. They must have gotten good intel on how to track him down.
So look at it this way, Kira. Every time there is a public shooting, in particular on a college campus, a public school, even a business, the federal, city, county, and state teams get together. So the FBI and ATF typically show up to offer assistance, a lot, a little, whatever the local jurisdiction actually needs. But they're used to working together. So start with that. The ability then to get the word out of Mr. Jones's identity of his car, and the tag number. That would go to all of the surrounding jurisdictions of Charlottesville. I'm going to guess Henrico County is not very far away. Did the police, it was on their radar via the word that was put out. They did, I'm going to guess, a car stop or some version of that, and took him into custody. But it does show you that the system and these various jurisdictions can work together because, sadly, we have so many shootings.
So let's talk about the fact that he was already on law enforcement's radar, and apparently it was tied into possibly a hazing incident among the football team. There were reports that he did have a weapon. What do you make? I mean, clearly, when we were hearing about his background, the fact he was on the football team, possibly the honor roll, you're sort of shocked. It doesn't fit the typical profile.
I don't know why they keep saying on a football team. They just said he didn't even really play a game, didn't they? Okay, so let's talk a little bit. So then, this guy. So they work together. They've got their resources together, the FBI, and they found him. It looked like very simple. Looked like they picked him up easy peasy. Just like that boy was out there grocery shopping. It was like, God damn it, they got me. Didn't really seem like there was much by way of a fight. There wasn't a fight at all. So, this guy, really, is he a killer? I mean, kill people. Yeah, he's a killer. But now that really sounds like a kid that was scared. I think an adult would have tried to flee. I don't know. I wouldn't call him that damn easy. He already got away. You know what I'm saying? Like he got away and he got caught.
File, right? Then we start hearing about the fact that law enforcement did know about him, that there was something involved with hazing and the football team. It's all
they knew about him, but he didn't do nothing wrong. Now. I mean, he didn't commit a crime when he told the guy he had a gun. So what? He had a gun. What the fuck big deal? That's why that case got closed.
So we tend to make a mistake in sort of
I got that in a minute ago when they
who
said
will commit mass shootings. And yes, you are correct. Many times we see maybe mental health, but certainly a troubled person outwardly. I'm going to guess that Mr. Jones has obviously his own set of issues here.
That's interesting.
Anger, rage, maybe uncontrollable rage. Maybe it's directed toward football, maybe not. I don't think it's a coincidence that the people he harmed were connected to the football team that he apparently either got kicked off of or was just not on it at the time of the shooting.
We need to know more about.
So, you have to start with that. If you look at what little we know, a person, Mr. Jones, some sort of violation in reference to a concealed weapon. Maybe another comment by somebody that he said he had a gun, but the person never saw the gun.
So he killed him.
This hazing incident, as we both know, could mean all sorts of things. A big deal, not a big deal. But if you put them all together,
Trev, isn't it? That's a statement, man. This dude did it. He wanted to kill them at school. Like, he waited for them to get to the school. He didn't do it at the play.
I mean, what does law enforcement do with that? I mean, the number of people that are stopped with having guns that either aren't registered or they're in a jurisdiction where if you are carrying it concealed, it's illegal. Will that be noted? It was noted, I suppose, in a criminal or stopped with sorts of things. And then this hazing incident, as we both know, could mean all sorts of things. A big deal, not a big deal. But if you put them all together, I mean, what does law enforcement do with that? I mean, the number of people that are stopped with having guns that either aren't registered or they're in a jurisdiction where if you are carrying it concealed, it's illegal. Will that be noted? It was noted, I suppose, in a criminal record. But that's about all police can do with that. It's not a direct threat. It's much like when we start hearing about people online saying they're going to go do X. That's when law enforcement can do something about it. It's not a perfect system. We miss some of these shooters because about it, saying they're going to go do X. That's when law enforcement can do something about it. It's not a perfect system. We miss some of these shooters because of that. But we'll have to know more about were there indicators, real aggression, anger, rage indicators between Mr. Jones and the people that were shot, or maybe even the foot.
I didn't think you could actually have charges pressed for threatening people. I guess you can. I think it really depends on where you're at, because people threaten people all the time, especially online. That's the place where you feel like they ain't gonna do nothing.
Football team in general.
Yeah, still a lot we don't know. So just kind of looking ahead now, what are your biggest safety concerns as University of Virginia students start to head back to class? Clearly, it's rocking the campus right now.
Well, there is no doubt. I mean, it sort of shakes your, feeling of comfort. I mean, you go to college, you're typically young, but the college campus itself is kind of like a cocoon. You feel comfortable there, you feel safe there. And this, even though this would strike me as perhaps a targeted shooting, it still will make you feel not safe, at least for a period of time. In other words, somebody came on campus with a gun, a fellow student, and killed
possibly
their other students, these football players. And so there's going to be trauma there for, I suspect, for some, an extended period of time they're really going to have to work through. And, the college itself sounds like, they are really offering help and will work with these kids to sort of get them through to the other side of, hey, this is really a safe place to be, and we're here to protect you the best we can.
And I'm told
of comfort. I mean, you go to college, you're typically young. Well, there is no doubt. I mean, it sort of shakes your, feeling of.
I think that's why he did it at the school. He wanted to let them know you're not safe here. I mean, I think killing them at the play, hey, man, it wouldn't have been as cool to him. He wanted, the school is where he finds comfort. That's where they all found comfort, and that's what he wanted to destroy. Now that makes sense.
Comfort. I mean, you go to college, you're typically young.
I was just saying to myself, why in the fuck would you wait?
The college campus itself is kind of like a cocoon.
See, this is the thing. If you're enraged and you want to kill somebody, why would you wait? Why wouldn't you just kill them right on site? Because you want you want to set the scene up. You want to set it up a certain way. You want to play out a certain way, And And that to me is the reason why I think he did that.
Coon. You feel like fellow. They're the best we can.
And Deshaun Perry. So those are the names of the 3 victims we just.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here.
Probably not much more to know. 10 years ago. I think this is all the information we're going to get right now. 2 hurt and shooting. It might be a different one.
At least 3 people are dead and 2 are hurt after a shooting on the University of Virginia grounds. And this is who police think is behind it. Christopher Jones, who we learned is a current student at UVA. This all started late last night.
But the search for Jones continues hours after the first shots were fired. We have team coverage this morning. Casey Baylor shows us how the community is reacting to the news. But first, let's go to Alex Littlehales in Charlottesville.
So, Alex, what have you learned?
Dan, Ashley, we've been providing updates all morning here in Charlottesville. UVA police actually just tweeted that folks here in the city should expect an extensive search on the grounds of UVA and that people should anticipate seeing an increased level of police activity as they are still searching for Christopher Jones. Some other updates from UVA President Jim Ryan. We learned that Jones...
Oh, shit. I never did that before.
For 13 News Now. Alex. You can see behind me a shelter in place. He also mentioned in a recent update just about a half hour ago that classes will be canceled today. That comes as there is still a shelter in place for UVA students and really just the residents of Charlottesville, again, as authorities are still searching for Christopher Darnell Jones. As you can see behind me, over my right shoulder, this is still an active scene. We're on the outskirts of the police perimeter here on Culbreth Road, which is where police say the shooting started at about 10:30 last night. But as of this moment, it's been about 7 hours since the first gunshots were reported here near the center of grounds here at UVA versus now. There are consistent updates from authorities and agencies about the suspect, but we still have not heard that Jones has been captured by authorities. This is a multi-agency investigation. There's the Virginia State Police here, Charlottesville UVA Police. We also know that there is a helicopter search around the city as well, looking for Jones. Again, as at this time, the important thing is that Charlottesville really is under a shelter-in-place order right now. A lot of misinformation and a lot of inaccurate information as this case moves forward. But again, continuing to provide updates, the latest information here in Charlottesville. Live in Charlottesville, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Alex, great job getting us all the accurate info that we do have confirmed at this hour. Thank you. Meanwhile, the UVA community is reacting to this tragedy. Many are sharing how terrifying this situation is.
So Casey Baylor joins us now. Casey, students in the area still under a shelter-in-place advisory?
Yeah, and the situation has a lot of people talking online, recounting what they heard this morning and checking in on those living on or nearby campus. Now, we did gather a couple of reactions for you. Let's start first with state delegate, I should say, Sally Hudson. She tweeted not too long ago, devastating news for the Charlottesville community. Please continue to keep in mind the emergency guidance. We also have some reaction from a UVA alum, also the safety for Kansas City Chiefs. He wrote, prayers out to my UVA family and all the families that were involved in the situation. And this one coming from a student on campus. He wrote, I will not sleep until I know that my friends are okay. University President Jim Ryan also tweeting initially when the situation happened, and then here is his full update with all of that updated information that we just heard from Alex not too long ago.
Well, anyway, so yeah, I just looked at the results for the measure. That shit is, Washington County did make a comeback, but no, that thing's gonna pass. 93% in. There's no way we're gonna find 30,000 votes over here. But Clackamas did flip by 1,000. They flipped to voting no. I mean, by far the biggest counties, Lane, Multnomah, Washington. I mean, hey, I'm really shocked that Washington County voted yes for this. This shit seems really weird. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. That's very shocking, but whatever. All right, guys. Well, yeah, look, I just wanted to react to a little bit of the news that I saw. I got to scrolling. I'm addicted to scrolling. I got to keep doing that. But yeah, look, wow. A lot of talk about the guy. A lot of talk about how good the kids were. Not much talking about how he got his gun. Anyway, I'm gone. This has been another episode of What the Hell is Happening in this damn country.